And welcome guys to another tutorial. This is Wardon, your host, and I would like to say thanks for you guys' viewership, shares, likes, and everything else because it helps our community grow, and it kind of makes me a little bit more excited to make a video for you guys so you guys can learn and everything. So you know it helps, guys, and we've had the most viewership this month because of you, so don't forget that. Now today's tutorial is going to be changes on the event system, probably the player, and we'll go by ear on how we're going to go about that and see how much time it takes, because I don't want to make this video too long. So let's get into it. On our scripts for our players, we have a lot of common functions that get called, like basically a run, just adjust speed and things of that nature. And they've got a lot of common functions in there. But I want to get rid of duplicate code. Every time I turn around when I go to write something, I'm writing the same code multiple times or pasting something else in, and that's kind of sucky. I'm not gonna lie. So we're going to go into our scripts and we're going to streamline some of this stuff and make it a lot better. Now, if you watch my tower defense tutorial that I introduced, how to make a tower defense game, then you will recognize what I'm doing. Some of it you will, some of it you may not. So if you can get the kind of feel of how we're going to take this direction toward our FPS shooter here. So without further ado, we're going to open the event system and show a change that we made to the kit. And let's pop that window open. Alright. So in the event system we have delegates, and they pass in values because we use listeners and stuff. So it's not surprising. If you've seen some of our other videos, then you know what's up. But this is new. I went and deleted most of the other glossy little junky code, and I replaced it with this. This dot broadcast message. What this does is this will broadcast to this void. Okay, you'll have a method. It'll be public void get event system, and you pass it this. So it would be something like this. Player events plotted event, and it would look like this. Okay, you would have get event, it would be here, and you'd have an overload right here. That's the event system, and that's all that would be. Okay, we pass it this because this message right here is passing the event system. So anything that's got this method in it, it's going to do something with this. Okay, and we put send message don't require receiver. So every game object that's here and below in our hierarchy will get this message. It doesn't have to use this message because we don't require anything to actually pass the values or anything like that. But it's kind of nice because I looked at most of our scripts, and the more we compile scripts in and start working with more and more scripts, we've got these get components. And if you got like so many weapons, or we have the full body animator that does a get component. We've got the player controller script that's got a get component, and we have all these get components that can add up to huge amounts of it, and they all do a get component and start. Well, that's kind of sucky because if you pile up those Git components, it's going to be a huge amount of performance. So instead of doing that, I decided to go with a broadcast message. Now, yeah, this has overhead and stuff, but at this rate that we're at right now with all the other scripts, this right here would be cheaper than all those Git components. And I actually seen a significant, I started to see, not really a pause or anything else, but you could tell something was in the start method every single time I would start. And this seems to be actually a lot better, I think. So I decided to start using this. Now, let's get into another script that I made a change into. And it would be, I don't think the light gutter has anything, but I might be wrong on that. The run player would probably be one. But we need the basic player first, right? Because the basic player has, yeah. We'll take the basic player first. So here's our basic player. We used to have these Git component. Let's embiggen this so you don't have to strain your eyes to see it. Okay. And we used to have Git component, and it would do this, and then it would add our listeners. Well, we're no longer going to do this. This is gone, okay? Because I find that there's a performance gain by doing broadcast message. Now, in here we have is grounded, which is a new bool, okay? What this bool, it's being set by controller is grounded. Now the reason why I put a bool here is simple. Is because in our new method that I've created a function to do all the controller stuff for us. I pass in the controller, the move direction, the speed, the jump speed, the gravity, the horizontal and vertical, for moving, and is grounded. Because the reason why I did this bool right here for is grounded is simple. I don't want this controller.isGrounded check to be called twice, okay? Having a new bool and putting it here and having it set is cheaper than having this controller checked twice in the single frame, okay? Because this would roll, okay? And then when I call this, I have to check if the player has jumped or not, because I'm using the controller like this as a variable, okay? And I didn't want to double up on something because that's a waste of performance, okay? And I just pass in the empty, move direction, and all the other stuff. And you guys remember, this used to be what, like 10 lines or so? Now I got a simple line that does player walk, run, jump. That's all it does. It doesn't do ladders, it doesn't do anything else. And if we don't want this to be called like this, all we have to do is do an if statement or comment this out somewhere. Okay? That's it. Very simple, very easy to do. Now you're probably like, what's this function look like? Is this going to be really, really complex or whatnot? Don't worry, we'll get to that. But I just wanted to show you, this is the direction that we're going to be moving. Yes, it does got a lot of overloads, or whatever you want to call them, but this right here is accessible in a lot of player script. If it comes from basic player or slot player, we'll be able to use it, okay? And I'll show you why in a little while. Now, for the event system, how we hook up our controls now, look at this. Remember me saying get event system? This is the method that you need now. This is the script type, and I put it as input system. So I made it very easy to see this is where our input is coming from. So I go input dot horizontal, input dot vertical equals this dot vertical, and it just does what it needs to do. Okay, calls these functions right here, and bam, there you go. And they are virtual, so if you inherit from this and want to overwrite a lot of stuff, you can. You can overwrite even this. This is an override anyway. So, because we have to have this overwritable, because not every controller script uses this scheme right here. And you'll see that. Because the next script that we're going to go to is our player run script. Okay? Now our player run script, we'll embiggen this, is a lot smaller, yes, but it's just as efficient and necessary as before. See, we inherit from basic player, which is fine because the basic player just does walking and jumping, and that's about it. So we have walking speed and running speed here. Before we only had speed. See? Speed. So we added 2 more variables so that we know where to go back to. Okay? We have our mouse look, and this start method overrides the basic player's start method. Okay? It completely overrides it. The reason why I just completely override it is because I don't want 2 different kind of things to pop up on my profiler when I go to debug. It's kind of a pain because you'll have 2 different scripts. It will show the basic version and the run version, okay? And it's kind of a pain to see which one's firing kind of which way, okay? So here's mouse.initial, this transform, okay? And speed, we have false here right off the bat. And what speed is down here. It's a float, adjust speed, and it just returns walk or run as a float. It just returns. So we're just adjusting the speed. We're not actually changing it. This is a new method in here for just doing is aiming and speed. See, I put aiming in this overload for the event system to tell when it's aiming, okay? So if I wanted to go in here and make it where every time I aim, I stop running, I have the ability to do that here or so, okay? I can adjust speed, and have things happen. Now, in our get event system, I completely override it because I need this is running variable. This listener right here, because this is how the speed thing is called. Okay, and notice in here I have no update. The reason why is because I don't need the update. Because this inherits from basic player, it falls back to the update in this one, in basic player. Now, that's the reason why I don't need an update in the script. Because all we're really doing is adjusting speed, and that's it. Boom. Easy as pie. But we do need to override this, so That's kind of the beauty of inheritance. And I had a problem with it before. If this if it never falls back to a script in your project, it's because Unity's messed up. Okay, I even asked my teacher about it because I was trying this before in a older version of Unity. I think it was like 5.3 or something, and for some reason it wouldn't fall back to my basic player update right here. This update, it wouldn't fall back to it. I'm like, that's not right. That's not right at all. And my teacher was like, yeah, that ain't right. You probably need to reinstall the program you're using or whatever. So I reinstalled Unity and it started working. So if you had issues with that, reinstall Unity. It'll fix it. Because I had that issue. So yeah, this is the player update. Now, check this out. If this never gets called, you never get errors or nothing. It doesn't error out or anything, okay? Which is really nice. But no more get component in the start method. It looked messy anyway, you know. So we have our basic player, our run, stuff like that. So what else could we possibly need to discuss now? I haven't done my slot player. That's not... Ooh, we should talk about weapons. We should talk about weapons. Yep. Let's talk about weapons. Let's see what the time is first, because I don't want this thing to be really long, because that would be a harsh video. Now, in our Rifle 308 class, we inherit from Rifle. And what I've done is, this is just basically a rifle class, you know, with transforms and stuff, and all that. And I've got other stuff in here, but this is kind of another video of this. See how I got this closest right here? This closest, if it's greater than 0, we do weapon, set position. I give it the transform, the current, and the aim speed. Okay? This is a new function. Okay? And what this function does is it sets our weapon position. Remember how I had that method, and I don't think it's in here anymore, that would just do stuff automatically. See, here's another one of our new methods as well. See this raycast sorted? I give it the range, our weapon layer, weapon T, bullet hole, and our new damage. Now, you guys know, when it comes to raycasting and everything else, it's never just this one line. Okay, it's a lot more than this. Okay, it's crazy sauce long, and this is how short this script really is. I mean, this is amazingly short. All right, so let's go into the sniper class and see what this has to offer now. Okay. And I'm going to delete this because it's not used. I don't think I use damage anymore whatsoever, so we don't need this probably in here. Take damage. I'm not going to... Yeah, I'll delete that too, because we're not using it. Okay, and we have a lot of other stuff. Here's the start method, and then we got weapon.start, which, if you don't know what this new damage variable is, you have to go back a few videos from this one And I think it's part 10, and it will discuss how this works. Okay. Now we have update, which does nothing. Raycast, which does nothing. Rigid body, that does nothing. Firing, that pretty much does nothing. And we have this firing right here, which just changes our variable for shooting. We got smooth time for kick. And then we got this right here. It's kick. And it's only one line. Well, that's pretty awesome, but what's it do? It's kick. It takes a vector 3, a weapon transform, and smoothing time. Well, that's kind of a bummer. Okay, now here's another one. We got bullet hole right here. Okay, but if you look, we don't use it. This isn't even being used. It's not even being used in this class. And how is that? When I'm sitting there doing bullet holes, how's it being used? Okay, so let's take a look at weapon actions, which has not changed whatsoever. It's just responsible for making sure we have methods for, shooting and stuff. But what's this? This war mono behavior. Well, war mono behavior is a new script. So let's take a look at that one. That one we are going to take a look at. And oh my god, look at that. That is some crazy sauce methods right there. Look at this. All this. And notice, weapon set, raycast sorted, find objects, weapon tag, bullet hole, basic kick 1, and a new one. Well, not really new. If you've seen my video on camera work, you have a method for camera call range. And it takes a camera and a float, which, an array of floats. And that's great. Now, this is what we are going to discuss today. This is the meat of the video, if you will. Okay? Weapon set position, all it does is set the position. And this right here is a method. If you have your inheritance right and everything, this method is accessible on every single weapon you have. Every single weapon you have. You can call this method. But it's not accessible in the player class whatsoever. And you're probably like, why don't you just make this static or something? I don't want this to be static. I want this to only accessible in weapon that inherit from weapon actions. So if I want to use something like a sorted raycast for an NPC weapon, I have it. If I wanted to use it for a tank, the methods are there. This takes care of all that junk that we usually write over and over again. I'd much rather sit there and pass the values and have this do everything that we need to do versus having some clogged up multi-line script that we're going to have the same stuff in every other script. Now, before we go any further with this, I am going to end this video in this part right here, but I will have the other video probably up the exact same day. I just don't want this video to go very, very long because there's a lot of stuff in this class, okay? And I want to make sure I make this very clear so you can use it, okay? So I will let you guys go. This is Warzone, over and out. and the YouTube stuff, like, hit subscribe, and thanks you guys for your time, and have a nice day. Bye bye.